Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'm the Greek. I'm the chapter lead for TOOOL in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and this is my first DEFCON presentation. So even though we're not doing this in the real, so to speak, I do know the tradition, so I'm going to carry it out. Opa. Shouldn't drink Glenlivet like that. Anyone who's familiar with the Fallout franchise of games will know where the title for this talk comes from. You know, are bobby pins more effective than lockpicks? The answer is, obviously no. But what if you don't have lockpicks? Well, you planned poorly. You should have them with you. There's only a few states that are that having them on you is a crime in and of itself. Now, internationally, I'm not familiar with the laws, but obviously check your state and local authorities to make sure that it's legal for you to have them on your person in the state that you're in. Like I say, there are some states that they're not legal to have on you at all times. Virginia, Mississippi, Nevada, which is strange because that's where DEFCON's at all the time. And there's one more. Mississippi, Ohio, Nevada, and Virginia. They're considered prima facie evidence of the intent to commit a crime. So if you're in those locations, don't have them on you. So if you don't have them on you in those locations, what do you do if you need to pick a lock? Legally, of course. You do what we've always done. You make your own, right? You might have started with the paper clip. You might have actually tried the actual bobby pin. I don't recommend that you destroy your wife's or your significant other's underwire bra until you get permission to do it. Just ask permission. There's other things that you can use as well, like spark plug gappers. These work very well, but there's a lot of material there that you have to cut away if you want to make this into a usable lockpick. One of the things that I really like to use is street cleaner bristles. Street cleaner bristles, if you walk down the street, you can find them after the street cleaner's gone by. Or you can luck out like I did. I was driving home one day and I was in my truck and I saw on the side of the road a broken street cleaner head, and so I stopped the pickup truck and I got some street cleaner bristles now. One of the things that professional quality lockpicks have over anything improvised is generally the handle. These are a HPC set here. These are out of the TOOOL Tremendous 12. They have a substantial handle to them and it's easy to hold on to, cuts down on fatigue while you're picking, and it just feels better in the hand than if you were to just have this and try to pick with that. So what I'm going to show today is how I improvise handles. You can do several different things. These are just swizzle sticks, some sort of a straw that I found to put over the outside of this homemade tension wrench. I did the same thing with this double-ended pick here, but these are all picks that I've made by hand using street cleaner bristles and a Dremel tool. And so that's what we're going to go over here today. The basic idea is just to give some heft to the tool, something to hold on to, something to give it some rigidity. There's multiple different things that you can get from hobby stores out there. This is a plastic that can be used. I tend to prefer brass, but there is also, let's see here, a couple of them that I've used an aluminum tubing on, and it all works basically exactly the same, whether or not you're using a square stock like this, which gives you a little bit more of a feel that's similar to this type of pick, or if you're using round stock. Again, I tend to prefer the round stock, just maybe for aesthetics. I have no idea why. There is a benefit to using square stock, and that is that you know, these flat picks and a square handle don't roll away. So the first thing to do is essentially figure out which one you want to duplicate. I like to mask things off and hold them in place. Get a good piece of stock. If it's rusty like this, I will take a piece of, again, this is improvised, right? This is actually wood sandpaper, but I'm going to use it. Okay, now that I have this relatively cleaned up, I'm going to take the pick that I want to duplicate. I'm going to do this one from the Tremendous 12. It's a... Man, I have the hardest time with that word.
Sinusoidal.
Yes, so sinusoidal. We're going to duplicate this one. What I like to do is match it up and then tape it in place with just some sort of tape to keep it in place while I trace onto it. So that's the basic gist of it right there. So now it's copied onto the stock, and next I'll get out the Dremel tool and I'll cut it out. So anyways, not identical. I can take more off of the one that I'm fabricating, but at this point in time, it's close enough. Like I say, I can take more off as needed, but I also want to make sure I retain the strength of the pick. Okay, now for the handle, I'm going to use brass. I want the overall length to be just about the same size as all of the standard picks. So I'll kind of measure it, put a mark on it. So that'll be the overall length of the pick approximately. And then as far as the handle goes, how much of that needs to be handle. Somewhere in there. It's not an exact science. We'll cut the pick off with the Dremel, but we'll use a tube cutter for the handle stock. I ended up making two. This one here with the round stock, and then I decided to make one with the square stock for the handle. Go over what I do to secure the pick within the handle, and that's essentially just some epoxy putty. Forgot I was working on cardboard here. JB Weld sets up pretty quick. Put as much the in the handle as you can. Press it in there, and then press the pick in. This stuff I can hardly work with it anymore. It's almost completely set up, but you still can do a little bit more. Oh man, it's not even sticky anymore. It's done. It is JB welded. Yeah, I'll throw that out. So one of the things about working with your own picks is you can make your own designs based off of some need that you might have with a specific lock. This pick is one that I use quite regularly. It seems to work fine. Here's the one that we just made. I'll probably clean this up over time and tighten up the cuts on it a bit. Let's see how I like the square handle. Might be interesting. Here's the one with the round handle. Basically the same pick, but just with the round handle. Made that one today as well. This is a pretty standard cross section right here. This one I made quite a while ago. I actually even took solid brass stock and put it into the base. I think that's probably a little bit too much because they do break. But like I say, you can make the specific pick that you want. This one has a rounder or a larger diameter barrel for the handle than the rest of them. Again, experimentation. This is just a very tiny hook pick for a very specific lock. Same with this here. This is a very tiny half diamond, again for a very specific lock. One thing that's important to note is that street cleaner bristles have a tendency to snap when you bend them into, say, like a tension wrench like this. And this is similar. I put a handle on a tension wrench, but you'll notice that the bend is not, super extreme like you might find on a mass-produced handle like this, where it's got a nice bend in there. And you can get to that. It is, I think it does make the metal a little bit more brittle, but you can make your tension wrenches out of the same material. You just have to be a little bit more careful when you bend. I think I showed these are ones with a half bend in the middle, and this one in particular is tapered to where it'll fit a smaller keyway. Again, the same thing that I talked about with regard to the specific picks that you can make that are specific to your lock. You can make a tension wrench that is specific to the lock that you're trying to pick. Let's see. So to the question, are bobby pins or improvised lock picks or homemade lock picks better than or as good as comparable to picks that you may buy? I think that it's very situational. The specific picks that I have made for specific locks were the only ones that I could get that would work for those locks. I had to make them, and then they worked. the quality, I think, is better with the professional made picks, obviously. The reproduction is better with the professional made picks. But I guess it's the trade-off between the purchasing of something and being able to make it on your own. For years, I didn't have access to picks or any place to get them at, and so I made them on my own. And I think that that's where the fulfillment, I guess, comes in with doing this yourself. Thank you for your attention to this. I would ask you, if you're interested in this, to please post some questions in the channel so we can answer them, and we can talk about different materials, different ways of fabricating. We can poke fun at how bad I am with the Dremel tool. But also, if you're interested in this, look for a local tool chapter. Look for others that want to explore this lock sport with you and with us. And again, I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of DEFCON Safe Mode. And this is the Greek, and Yasu. I'm not going to drink it like I did the first time. This stuff's too good.
saying something?
Menel, are we back? Yeah.
John, can you say something again?
Check 1 2, check 1 2 1 2, check 1 2. I still don't know if he can hear me.
John, can you try saying something?
Can you hear me, Night Owl? Because you go mute every time.
He's trying to listen.
Yeah.
He's trying to listen to you on the output.
No, I
side.
get it. I understand.
I think we're back up now.
All right.
Are we on?
Cool. So we will just roll right back into the questions. Sorry, everybody.
No, it's
Thanks
fine.
for bearing with us. Okay, so the first question, in terms of stuff, have you've played around with some kind of traditional picks in your work? Have you thought about other more non-traditional stuff?
Yes. In the past, I've made a tubular lockpick out of a 30-06 shell casing and like some piano wire type of stainless that I've got from the local hobby store. That and some O-rings and, okay success, but obviously not as good as having something machined from like a professional pick. But that's kind of the way it is, right? I mean, when you improvise something, it might not be much better than using the end of a big biro, to open up a lock, but you can improvise some things.
Cool. And with the with the stuff that you're using, the multi-tool to cut off, I saw you're using the, kind of the traditional cutting wheels. I know when I've tried to do stuff with that, they're rather brittle, let's say. Wheels as you're cutting
for
stuff.
certain, waves that you want to make in a pick. But start head grinding and then work your way down, and then you're going to wear through your tools a whole lot less.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of finishing, when you're finishing stuff off, do you go through any extra processes besides just like, I guess, roughly sandpaper? Have you, played around with running them through, I don't know, rock tumblers or other things to give them a little bit more of a polished edge?
Really good ideas, and I have one. I'll give that a try. I guess it would kind of depend on what media that you put in there. But like some stainless pins would probably do a really good job polishing these up. I have used just like the cloth and rouge wheels to put a polish on them. Normally I don't go to that much trouble except for getting the edges burnished off. Because I don't want it to be like real coarse and damage the pins in the lock. But that's a really good idea. As far as the rock tumbler, that's actually a really good idea.
Well, I just know it from stuff I've done.
I'll use it.
Nice. From the stuff I've done myself, I've not done that, but I've wondered of better ways to kind of finish them off. This metal that had a coating on it, and then a coating is worn off. I'm guessing with yours, you're using primarily stock that doesn't have a coating. So I guess you don't run into that much of a problem. But have you played around with I don't know, metal bluing or other things to offer some extra protection on any of the things you're producing?
No, but you're giving me a whole lot of really good ideas. Really, you are. I'm kind of thinking about it now. If I make like I made a set of Bogotas to fit in my wallet this last year out of street cleaner bristles, and at the end of the day, they're still pretty choppy looking because I found them in a gutter and they've been rusting, and you say they're pitted and that type of thing. But yeah, so that'll be a project for this next go round. I think I'm going to make a set of Bogotas, run them through a stainless pin tumbler to get them all polished up, and then get them Cerakoted. What
Nice.
color should I? Yeah, what color should I do?
Well, I mean, you have to use the TOOL colors. Yeah, do some.
Just with some black and red.
Yeah,
I
why not?
agree. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do that for next year.
Nice. So we have a question from a YouTube user. How often do you or them ever?
And I'm not exactly sure what the benefit would be in trying to temper. Because you're using such thin gauge metal, having a temper on it and making it brittle might take some of the spring out of it, of course, and then also you might have a problem with like a tip end on the pick breaking off in the lock, and that would be a bad deal as well. To where it's really hot. I'll back off and let the metal cool down. If I can't hold it in my fingers, then I've been working it too long and I'll stop for a bit.
So for the Bogotas, did you add a twist to them to make like a and when you're doing
absolutely.
that, are you heating it up or you're just two vice grips or something to twist it?
Yeah, kind of two vice grips. Actually, a pair of vice grips and then a suction-mounted desktop vice, an actual vice. Because I want the handle piece to be the same length, and so I kind of measured in there. We'll make sure that it's going to operate as a tension wrench as well. So I'll put just the right amount in the table vise on the suction grip, and then I'll grab a hold of it about a 1/4 inch or maybe even a little bit more up from where I want the bend at on the pick itself, and then put the half bend in it, and then also then put the bend for the handle or for the tension wrench, however you're going to use it.
Sure. Yeah. No, I know we at my local tool group we actually have a whole collection of street sweeper bristles that we use to make turning tools. Actually, I think Night Owl and I, the last time we pre-pandemic we had our meeting in person, we, as somebody was giving the instruction, we sat
Yeah, definitely. And I really do like the idea of using, the found metal for your turning tools and your picks. And for one thing, you have a little bit of accomplishment at the end of it. And the other thing is that when you break one or when you grind one down to where it's for a very specific lock, You go, this turning tool works really good on this lock.
Mm-hmm.
None others, right? But it's very, you can get very specific in what you're making and what lock it is best suited for. You don't feel like you're ruining, an expensive set when you're out there with the grinder. You're actually making, the specific tool.
Sure. Well, I think this is there was one comment, and I guess this will probably be the last question. But Chirel in the chat says, "I've yet to find a street sweeper bristle in the wild, though I keep looking." So, do you have any advice for how to spot street sweeper bristles in the wild?
Sorry that hasn't happened for you, because it's kind of like open, right? It's like found. Yeah, I found one. Just I would say go around looking for street sweepers, as they're going, but that's, it depends on how big of a city you're in and that type of thing. Go for a walk in the street sweeper. That's one of them. Send me a DM and I'll mail them to you. I have I have a lot. I don't know if you is he still on, or are they still on? Because I started off on my presentation with where and how I found my street cleaner bristles, and it was just a busted head, half of a head of a street cleaner. So I'm in them up to my ears, and I have a friend that just found a busted head too. So they're out there. Walk around your downtown. Downtown gets street cleanered more than residential areas. Just
Yeah,
that.
and I see Night Owls commented, get a feel for street cleaning schedule, and watch out for parades. I think that's definitely, yeah, if you live in a city that has, alternate side parking and that kind of stuff, that's usually an indicator that they're probably coming around doing street cleaning there. So if you walk down afterwards, you might find a bristle or two. I'd also say take a look specifically in those types of areas, in like crevices near areas where street sweeper bristles will fall off when they get caught on something. So if there's like a break in the pavement, a dip in certain areas, you might find them, in that area more than others. So.
Yeah, no, those are really good ideas. Those are really good ideas, especially now that it's summer and there's still some parades going on here and there. Parade routes, yeah, special events, very good ideas.
All right, cool. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up.
I have a question. If there's anybody listening out there still, I would like, because I'm not seeing any question feed, but if there's any, what would you like to see fabricated, would be a question that you can post up on there and we'll see it. Don't have to stay online and wait for things to be answered right now. But if you have any ideas, please do either to the Twitch channel, put them up on our Discord, things that you would like to see fabricated, and we'll try to do that for the next con. Thank you very much for having me and giving me a place to talk about my silly hobby. I love it. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Gonna try. You too.